Hello guys, hello everyone who has signed up for the Highly Confident Man initiation. Hello everyone. I'm working on getting this set up right now. It shows that there's no viewers right now. Just wanted to make sure that you guys are able to watch this right now. Let's see. It says zero viewers right now. I'm just making sure that you guys are able to watch this live right now. I'll get started here in a few minutes. Okay, Kevin says you're watching now. Okay. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys can view right now, because it says okay, it shows 3 viewers. Okay. All right, so it looks like we're live. We have 3 viewers. So let's get started. Welcome guys to the Highly Confident Man initiation. I am glad to have you guys here. Looks like we have some noise out here. So in this webinar, we are going to cover purpose. We're going to cover the masculine versus the feminine in our relationships and sexuality, and lastly, our relationship with our father and mother, and how that relates and how that affects all of our relationships in our entire lives. So our romantic relationships, our relationships, you know, with coworkers at business, our friendships, it affects everything. So we're going to go into detail on all of that in the next 60 to 90 minutes. Take notes. So get out a notebook if you want to take notes. Depends on what learning style is best for you. You know, if it helps you to write notes, or if you're just better at listening and watching me. And this is recorded, so you can always get access to this afterwards if you need to, and listen to it over and over and over again if you like. That's how I like to learn personally, is to listen over and over to things. So yeah, get out your notebook if that's your preferred way of learning, and take notes. And yeah, make sure that you fully receive what's here for you. You fully show up to listen and participate and ask questions that come up along the way. I want all you guys to get the most that you can possibly get out of this program. That's my main goal. And if you have any questions, make sure to just type them in the chat box. Looks like Jack is here. Okay, a lot of you guys are here listening in. Yeah, so I can hear you guys. I can see your guys' comments. So if you guys ever have any questions, make sure. Wow, yeah, looks like all you are watching. Make sure to just type them in the chat box on the Google Hangouts, and I will keep an eye on your questions, and I'll answer your questions every 20 minutes or so. So let's take a moment just to get centered and relaxed and in our bodies and get present. So make sure to put away all distractions, your cell phones. I'm gonna put my cell phone away. And turn off the TV, put away all distractions. Take a few deep breaths into your belly. Fill up your belly like a balloon. And just get ready to be present and receive what's here for this program that you guys have invested your time and your money into. So by the end of this program, it's my goal for you to have a clear, written out life purpose and guaranteed enhanced connection and intimacy with women and all of your other relationships if you apply what's here for you in this program. And I will be here to support you to make that happen. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the topics I'm sure you guys are interested in is what do women really love about men? And I'm just going to start it off with this big topic here. And I made a list of 7 things that I've heard personally from women, and I've seen in my own experience of what women love in men. And I feel like this really isn't talked about too much. We don't really hear direct feedback on what women just love about men. From a male's perspective, I know it's always been easy for me to understand what I love about women, and wow, they're so sexy, they're feminine, they're just you're so much fun to be around, and obviously physically, yes, I'm very attracted, but then it's always been mysterious to me personally in the past of what do women love about men? What makes a woman so attracted to men? I'm men don't seem that attractive externally, no offense, but in comparison to women, but that's because I'm straight. But so we're going to cover this in detail on what exactly women love in men. And I went to a conference called the Conference for Men in April. And there was 7 women on the last day who showed up to tell us really what they truly love about men. And a lot of these girls are married or have boyfriends or are single, but they each shared what they just love about men. And really it comes down to a man being a fully aligned, in his fullness. And it really comes down to, is he fully open into his fullness, or are there parts where he's closed off, or insecure, or he has holes or insecurities, if you will. And so that's on a fundamental level. He's either open and fully in love, or he's closed in various ways. And so we'll go into more detail on that. And so one of the main things I heard these 7 women say at the Conference for Men was that they love a man who's on purpose and has a purpose or a mission, if you will, in life. And they find that really attractive. And they find it exciting and exhilarating to really be in the presence of a man and spend time with a man, who's their lover, who is really driven, is working hard on something, and he has this vision that he's trying to create and to bring into his reality. They find it really fun and adventurous to be with a man like that. And it's really taking the leadership role, and they like it when a man can lead her when she's not sure about something. Maybe she's very emotional. She likes a man who can really make decisions and take that leadership role. And kind of a metaphor for this is, if you don't have a purpose or a mission, a metaphor would be, it's like you're on a ship at sea and you're the captain, and you don't really know where you're going, and so you don't really have a plan. You don't have a final destination in mind, so you're just kind of floating around. And you could imagine if there's passengers on that boat, they might be wondering, like, why, like, what's going on here? Like, I don't feel safe. Like, this seems like a dangerous situation. Like, we don't even know where we're going. This captain doesn't know, like, he doesn't have a destination in mind. Like, it's a dangerous situation. Whereas, if the captain has a final destination, knows how to get there, and is confident, and is experienced, and knows how to get to the destination, then obviously he's much more trustful, and the passengers are willing to pay for their tickets, and much more trusting. So it's the same thing with, kind of metaphorically, with the man, the masculine, and the woman, the feminine. So the first one was women love a man who's on purpose and has a mission. The second one is they love a man who loves unconditionally. And this is probably the biggest one, because ultimately what everyone wants is unconditional love, which is everything. Unconditional love includes everything that comes up in a relationship, all the emotions. It's really full acceptance of the fullness of who he is and who she is, and just full acceptance of everything, the whole universe. And so he loves himself unconditionally. And as he loves himself and loves and supports his own growth and isn't afraid to grow and get out of his comfort zone, he can do the same for her. And in loving himself unconditionally, he can fill his own cup up, so to speak, and overflow love into her and also into the world. And so it always starts with himself and self-love. And if a human being, if a man doesn't love himself, then he'll only have that much to give to everyone else. To the degree that he loves himself is the same degree that he'll be able to love his woman, his friends, his family, etc. And so there's this great book by David Deida, The Enlightened Sex Manual, and it's a great book. I recommend all of David Deida's books. Check them out on Amazon and buy any of them that you're drawn to. But he talks about how the depth of a woman's yearning for love will match your depth of connection to your deepest purpose. So that kind of goes back to your purpose and your mission in life. And so the depth that you're connected to that is the same depth that she loves you and yearns for your love. The third thing that women love in men is a man who has values and principles, who knows, what's important to him, and who's willing to stand for that, and be in integrity with what he values and what his principles are. So basically, he knows who he is, and he's clear. So by whatever means necessary for you guys to get clear on what your values and principles are, whether that means journaling about it, meditating on it, for really getting clear and stand steady with your values and principles, women find that very attractive, because that means you know who you are. That means you're confident in yourself, and it means you can make decisions. You can say yes or no to things based on what your truth is, as they're related to your values and your principles. The fourth thing is the fourth thing that women love in men is a man who's unafraid and committed. And so basically, in the face of fear, well, let's talk a little bit about fear. So fear is resistance to, you know, going outside of your comfort zone. And you know, when you allow fear to jail you, it means, I mean, you're literally jailed in your conscious mind. And you know, let's say you're afraid of, I don't know, karaoke singing. So let's say a moment happens where, you know, her and her friends go up to the stage and start singing karaoke, and they want you to come up, but you're like, no, like, I'm too scared. That might be a turnoff. That will very likely be a turnoff for her, because it's like, why are you so afraid? Like, you know, why can't you have fun? And so fear is really the only thing that jails us. And you know, from a man's perspective, from any human being's perspective, fear holds us back from freedom. And you know, I'm sure a lot of you will agree that, you know, ultimately freedom is what we all want. You know, like, I want the freedom to travel. I want to be able to buy houses, or, you know, have amazing relationships, but just be free. You know, to not be constrained by fears or like lack of financial stability or anything like that. And you know, so ultimately it always comes down to fear. Fear is the only thing that holds us back from our own freedom. And so that's what we all want. That's what men want. That's what women want. So that's very important. And we'll go into a lot more detail on fear later in this program. We'll definitely focus a lot on that, because it's a very, very important big topic. And in the face of fear, you're willing to, you know, go into the darkness sometimes, like go into scary places. And you know, sometimes with a woman, she might take you into some dark places. Maybe she's having a really rough time, and you know, if you're too afraid to go there and you like judge her for like crying a lot or something, or being in a dark place, then I mean, she might lose respect for you. And really, that goes back to unconditional love. That's not unconditional love. If you know, if someone's emotional, going through something, and you basically tell them that's not okay and that they can't do that. So fear is being able to go everywhere, into all of your emotions, into experiences that you might be afraid of, and kind of growing your boundary, kind of moving it more and more outwards, and kind of pushing it as you move into your fears and become more and more free as a human being, which is what we all want. The fifth thing that women love in men is emotional intelligence, and men who are able to be in touch with their emotions. And this is really, really, really important. You know, as human beings, we are emotional, and we feel our experiences. You know, we feel our woman. You know, we feel the beauty in women. We feel the beauty in nature. We feel, you know, if we make a lot of money, we feel abundant. We feel like we can buy anything. Oh, it feels amazing. You know, let's say we're driving a car really fast, and it's like really exciting. We're feeling that whole experience. I mean, that's what we're here to do. I mean, if you look at like, why are we here? Like, we're here to feel our experience. And you know, I see a lot of men in this world, and you know, I used to be like this, and it's still a work in progress, but a lot of men are very suppressed emotionally. And you know, wherever we learn that from, whether it's our dads or from society, from the media, you know, teaching us that, oh, being a man, you have to be tough and you can't cry, and you know, you can't, and also anger. You can't be angry because, oh, that's disrespectful, or oh, that's scary, or you don't want to start conflicts because that's bad. You want to be on your best behavior. You want to have good manners. Not saying that those things are bad, but there's a lot of men who are very suppressed emotionally, and are really closed off, and in a way they're dead. To a degree, they're very, they're dead inside, or they're very suppressed. That's a better way of saying it. And so that their light, their life is very suppressed. And so, what's very attractive in a man, and what's in general attractive for all human beings, is to be around people who are open and very light and very showing up very big. We can either, in every moment, we can either show up kind of small and like maybe afraid or closed off, or we can be open and bright and influential and lively and vibrant. So it's generally very attractive for a man or any human being to be open fully. And so, yeah, if you're out of in touch with your feelings, you're really missing out on life. You're missing out, most importantly, on your own experience, because it never feels good to be suppressed. It never feels good to be contracted and scared, and it always feels good to be in love, fully, unconditionally open, heart open, open to life, in love with yourself and life and your woman. And so that's what it's about. The sixth thing that women love in men is a man who's experienced and well-rounded, and so he's experienced socially. He knows how to. He's basically moved into all his fears, ideally, and he knows how to. He has experience. He knows how to deal in certain situations. He knows what to do. He's confident. So let's say going to social events. He knows how to interact with people. He knows how to have fun. He knows how to be himself. Let's say he has hobbies and he's experienced with sailing or something, and he's really good at that. That's fun, right? I mean, even one of your buddies, it's fun to do things that they're experienced at and they know a lot about. And it develops your character. It means you're well-rounded, and it means you're constantly growing. So the sixth thing is experience. The seventh thing women love in men is a man who is in his body and is present. And this is a very, very big one. We'll go into this in a lot more detail throughout this program. But just being in your body and just being in the moment, basically out of your head. You're not thinking about stuff. You're not worrying about stuff in the future or the past. You're fully here right now. You're in your body. You feel really good, and you're enjoying your experience. And that's about it. I've had women tell me personally, sometimes when I'm really present, they tell me it's like, wow, like you were so present, like it was really, really hot. So that's a big one. We'll go into more detail on that. Let's see. I'm going to check if there's any questions. Looks like there's no questions right now. Once again, if you guys have any questions, comment in the live Google Hangouts. I see Tim says he can't see or hear the program right now. Well, if all else fails, Tim, you'll be able to watch the recording of this afterwards. I will send all you guys the recording. So next we're going to go into how to find your life purpose. That's one of the most attractive things in a man that a man can do. For himself, most importantly, it's fulfilling for him, and then women find it attractive as well. It's the same thing. So finding your purpose and your mission in your life as a man, it's really a never-ending journey. But it tends to get more and more refined as time goes by, and you work on it more and more. It's like kind of like sharpening your sword. Like it gets more and more refined. And the most, so how do you find your purpose? Like what is purpose even? How do you find your mission? So basically, the truth is inside of you. The truth is always inside of you. And when you follow your, let's call it your highest excitement or your truest alignment as a human being, you will eventually discover your purpose. And it's here now, in the present moment, always. And it usually stems from pain in your past. So, let's say, me personally, I dealt with a depression in high school, and I wasn't happy. And I didn't know who I was. I had no confidence in myself. And so a large part of my purpose in life is, is personal development and helping people find that deep fulfillment inside of them. Basically what I did not have many years ago. And so in a lot of ways, currently, that feels like my truest purpose, is helping people who might have been in my place or want to consistently get to their next levels in their own personal and life development. And so your purpose is your passion, and as I said, it's always here in this now moment. And if you're not aware of your purpose or your mission in life, that's okay. There's a lot of layers that you may have to kind of uncover. It's like you're peeling the onion. There might be a lot of layers of conditioning, of maybe what society told you should do in your life, that might be getting in the way of what your truest, deepest passion is in this moment right now. And so I'll tell you a little bit about my story. In a lot of ways, I was on the typical American path of, having an education, getting an engineering job. And the only reason I went with engineering is because I didn't know what else I wanted to do. I really was not connected to my purpose, my deepest calling for most of my life. And that's why I wasn't fulfilled. That's why I wasn't really happy. And so after college, I was working an engineering job, and I finally had some time on my hands, after work, to kind of dig deeper. I was searching for a deeper fulfillment. Like a lot of my life, I just wasn't fulfilled, and I saw other people, and they seemed so much happier than me. So I wanted that too, and I wanted to have great relationships, especially with women. And so, I finally said, like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out. So I started asking myself questions, why am I here? What's my purpose? And really started digging into that. And so I really just tried everything that I was interested in, everything that I was drawn to. And hold on one second. And so I started searching high and low for what made me feel fulfilled, what made me feel really good. Like, ideally, I wanted to find something that I love doing, that I'm really passionate about, that I can get paid for, that I can build a career with, so that it's the best of both worlds. I can do what I love all the time. I can be in a state of enjoyment and having fun, and live financially stable, and have great relationships too. And so, I started trying all kinds of things. I really enjoyed working out at the time. I enjoyed working on my body, building muscle and things like that. And then I got into diet and nutrition, and I was thinking, like, maybe I'll be a health coach or something. That was a possibility a few years ago. I enjoyed playing sports. I joined all sorts of sports teams. I volunteered. I did Habitat for Humanity. I started getting interested in politics. Excuse me. And started helping people, you know, back to the volunteering. Then I got interested in internet marketing. I was like, you know, I think it would be really cool to start an online business. Maybe that's my thing. And then I started interviewing other people who seem to have it down, seem to be doing things as entrepreneurs that they really enjoy and love doing and getting paid for it. And so I started interviewing a lot of entrepreneurs, and then I started getting really into personal development, as I spoke about a little bit earlier. And so, you know, I wound up narrowing it down more and more and more and more and more. And eventually I realized, like, no, I don't want to be a health coach really over time. It took a while, many months. No, I don't want to be, most likely I don't want to be a professional sports player. Most likely I don't want to be a politician. But I really knew, like, I wanted to help people. And I could see myself even being kind of like a teacher. And people have told me that as well, that I'd be, I have a lot of wisdom and I'd be a great teacher. So I took all that to mind, and just over time, it just narrowed down more and more and more until I'm doing what I am doing today, where I'm a personal development coach to help people in their relationships and pursue their dreams and get clear with their purpose in life. And, you know, now I'm running a program like this. And this is extremely fulfilling to me. Like, I love this, and I want to bring this type of personal development content into the mainstream of education, so like high schools and possibly college. So that's another vision of mine. So finding your purpose, it takes time. You know, it takes patience and persistence. But it's, you know, it's really in the trust that you will narrow it down more and more over time as you commit to the answers that are deep inside of you always. And like I said, it's really just unpeeling the layers of the onion, so to speak, to get down to really the core of who you are as a being and as a man. So we're going to get clear with what your guys' purposes are in the next week. I'm going to check to see if there are any questions. Okay. Looks like looks like you guys are figuring out the audio. Okay. I'm going to go back. Just let me know if you guys have any questions and type them into the chat box, and I'll be happy to answer. Next, we're going to go into sexuality and the masculine and the feminine polarities. Sexuality. So the masculine and the feminine. You can almost think of it as a magnet. You know, you take them apart and they're drawn to each other naturally. And if you look at it, sexuality is everywhere. It's really just the idea of duality. You know, be it day and night, heaven and hell. You know, the electrons in the nucleus, hot and cold, water and fire. There's lots of, you know, opposing things. You know, anger and joy. Those aren't exactly opposites, but a lot of us think they are. We'll go into that as well. And so it really goes down to physics. Opposites attract. And so, you know, if you look at the masculine and the feminine, you know, obviously, for the most part, men are attracted to women sexually, and that's how we procreate. So, but there's also a paradox here, and the paradox is that, you know, if you're spiritual, you've probably heard, you know, we are all one, like everything is one. Everything is all energy, you know, everything is just made up of atoms, and if you really go into the atomic level, like there really isn't any difference. There's no separation. Everything is one. Everything is all connected. Everything is all energy. So it's a paradox that the masculine and the feminine attract, but then also, so that's duality. So there's two separate things, but then everything is also one. So here's the truth: is both are true, and this might be kind of mind-blowing, but that's the truth. Is that it's all true. And as humans, we a lot of times we live in duality. We think of things as opposites as well, but both are true. Everything is all one, and then there's also duality, a duality perspective that we can look on things to kind of understand life and our experience more clearly. Okay. So the masculine, let's start with the masculine. Let's go into detail about the masculine. So the masculine in the sexual polarity, the masculine is strong, is steady, and is still. And I'll give you some metaphors. It's like the center of an orbit. So let's say the sun and the planets are orbiting around the sun. Think of the planets like the feminine, like women. And then the masculine is at the center, pulling the feminine, with gravity, pulling them together and keeping them in orbit. So you may or may not have heard the term holding space. And so the idea that, the masculine energy, let's say a man who's really in his masculine power, in his masculine presence, he can hold a lot of space. That means, I guess, let's say metaphorically, there's a lot of women around. He can be fully present and open and still in the presence of a lot of women, let's say laughing and having fun and dancing and doing all crazy stuff, and he can just be present and just maybe appreciate, just really just like be smiling and appreciative, but not necessarily having to do anything, just pure stillness. And so that is the masculine. Another metaphor is, let's say well, that might be a better example for the feminine, actually. Let's see. So the masculine is beyond time and space, and it's completely still. We talked about a man's principles and values, and those always exist. They're always true. So let's say one of your values is to be loyal to, let's say, your lover. That's set in stone. Like, that doesn't change. It's still, it's constant. So, your value is I am loyal. Boom. That's eternal. If you stay in integrity with that, it doesn't change. It doesn't change to some other thing like not loyal or something else. Let's say, I don't know, polyamorous relationship. It's no, I'm loyal. And so it's set in stone. And it's knowing what's true for you. It's knowing what's, in your deepest alignment, what values and principles are most true for you. And truth is eternal. And so in a way, it's beyond your human form. It's just it's set in stone, and it doesn't it's outside of this experience, if that makes sense. And so some examples of, let's see, the values and principles that represent being committed to your masculine is, you know, as I said, you know, being loyal, or I will always be honest, or I will never lie, or, you know, and these are like in a relationship. You know, you'll be open and honest. You will tell her, you know, what you're looking for, and you will hold your values and principles. And now let's go into examples of the feminine perspective. And so the feminine, and this is on the polar opposite side. And by the way, we all have feminine and masculine. I'm not saying like, oh, all men are masculine and all women are feminine. No, we all, let's call it a spectrum. We're all like somewhere on the spectrum, and we can go anywhere on the spectrum, because, you know, we're fully alive, infinite human beings. We can embody any type of energy we want. But a lot of times we naturally, say at birth, just the way we were born, our genetics, we naturally lie somewhere like where, like, you know, at rest in our present state, we will lie somewhere on the spectrum. And so the feminine is highly unpredictable. It's, you know, call it wild. You know, in humans, it's when you're very emotional. You know, emotions are all over the place. They're fleeting. So it's very alive and flowing energy, and it's life. And so an example would be, you know, once again, the planets are going around the orbit. They're going fast. They're moving. They're in motion. Let's see. And let's say an example, you know, in our human experience, you know, let's say a woman dancing. You know, you might notice women dancing at the club, or like maybe even at a strip club. Women just like being in just their full feminine, just letting loose, and, you know, their hips are shaking, they're moving all over the place. It's like unpredictable. There's all kinds of movement and aliveness going on, lots of expression, and, you know, highly feminine women, they love it. And, you know, I personally find it fascinating just to see a woman just fully in the flow of dance, because it's so it's pure art. It's just like pure movement. And it's purely unpredictable as well. You never know what's going to happen next. Another example would be a plant growing from the earth. So, you know, the earth is still, you know, let's say the dirt, and then there's this plant that, you know, slowly comes out of the ground, and it's moving, and it's, you know, you don't know which direction it's going to go next, but it's alive, and it's growing. Out of the stillness of the earth. And so the point of all this is to, you know, understand, you know, how sexual polarity works. And so when a woman is in her feminine, she will be very attracted to a man who is still and present with her. Same thing, a man can be in his feminine too. A man can go out and dance and have a great time, and there can be a woman who's in her masculine and she's observing him. That would be very attractive for both. They would, you know, there'd be some sexual tension there. And so once again, you can be anywhere on the spectrum at any moment. And, you know, a lot of times in relationship, it's a dance. You know, maybe one day you're really emotional and your woman kind of plays the masculine role, and then the next day she's dancing and you observe her as a masculine. So it can go anywhere around, and it's a dance. Or, you know, there's a lot of relationships where maybe you're kind of both in the center, and maybe there's not a lot of sexual tension, but you know, you just have amazing chemistry and you have a great friendship. So it can go it can look like anything, but you know, ideally when there's a lot of sexual polarity, sexual tension, it's like polar opposites, the masculine and the feminine. And so naturally you're somewhere, at your natural state, you're somewhere on that spectrum. And so, you may be curious, like, how do you find out where you are on that spectrum? Because then when you know ideally where you are, what your natural state is, then you can kind of find a mate who's the opposite of that in their natural state. And an effective way to do that is to see, in order to see like how masculine and how feminine you are, is to imagine two scenarios. And I'll just go into it. So there's a scenario of you can either, and this is all hypothetical, so just bear with me. This isn't real right now. Well, we're just kind of making a hypothetical situation here too. So just play with me on this. So in one situation, you can choose to live your life to succeed in the mission that you want to accomplish in your life, and not have the love of your life. And then in the other example, you can you have the love of your life, you have the most amazing partner, the most amazing relationship, and you're just fully in love with a woman, but all your focus is on her and building a relationship with her, and not focused on your mission. So you don't accomplish your mission, your ultimate mission in your life. Which one of those would you choose? Let's say, you may say, well, this isn't real. Like, I can have both. And the truth is you can't. You can achieve your mission and you can have an amazing, loving relationship and intimacy. But just bear with me here. Let's say if someone had a gun to your head right now and they said you have to choose which one would you choose? And so consider it like a spectrum. So you might be like, oh, like me personally, I feel like I would, obviously I want both, but I'm leaning towards the masculine side. The masculine perspective is that I would rather live out my mission in life and fully live true to that, because I'm an ambitious guy, and though I love relationships and intimacy, I do feel a little more drawn to pursuing my mission in life. It's very fulfilling for me. Whereas other guys I've asked, and they would say, you know what, I'd rather have an amazing relationship for the rest of my life, and not live out my mission, and I'd be fulfilled. So, once again, it's a spectrum, and you might be way on one side of living out your mission, or you may be one on the other side. Oh, no, I'd rather have an amazing relationship. Or you may be somewhere in the middle. So that's kind of how you can figure out where you're on the spectrum. So if you're highly masculine, you're like, oh, I would definitely do my mission. Then you'd probably attract a highly feminine one, and vice versa. So now I'm going to check if there's any questions. Okay. Kevin says, is it a big deal for women to date a younger guy? 4 to 5 years younger, I'm assuming. What do you think is the initial fear women have in dating a younger guy? Okay, Kevin. So I've dealt with this a lot in my own life, actually. I've met a lot of older women, and I don't know. Generally, I think I'm attracted to older women because I just tend to connect with women who are older usually about 4 or 5 years or even older. So you're asking, what do you think is the initial fear women have in dating a younger guy? Well, ultimately, Kevin, you know, from the perspective of taking full responsibility for your experience, and we'll talk more about this in this program, but I would have you take a look at yourself and see what fear you personally have within yourself of dating older women. Because if women are showing up to you and they feel like they don't want to date you because you're too young, most likely that's you. Most likely there's a fear within yourself of feeling like you're too young or whatnot. And so when you're unsure, then they're going to be unsure. So they reflect you. And this goes back to like physics. Like they will match your vibration, if you will. So if you feel like you're too young to date older women and you're like insecure about it, then they're not going to be comfortable with it either. So I tell you to take a look at yourself and what is it about you that feels insecure about being with an older woman. Because if you're fully in your confidence in yourself and fully in love, if you will, then you wouldn't care at all if a woman wasn't interested in you because she's older, because it wouldn't even come into your awareness. And the only women that you would draw in, they would be cool with it because you're fully in love and you have no judgments on being a younger guy. And I found that true in my own life. When I was insecure with being too young or whatever, women would reflect that back to me. They would say I'm too young and like, oh, this is not going to work out. Whereas now I've gotten to a place where, you know, I really don't care about age at all, and I express that openly to women. I'd say, you know, age doesn't matter to me at all. It's just, you know, the connection that's here, or, you know, whatever level in our state of growth is, and what trajectory we're on. So if we match up, then it's all good. I really don't care about the age. Age is just numbers to me. And so ever since I've been openly communicating that, it hasn't been a big deal anymore. And honestly, women never say that to me anymore. Even women who are much older, they never point that out because I don't have that self-judgment anymore. So they can't reflect it back to me because I don't have it within myself. We'll go into more detail on that a little bit later in the program, because that's a big topic. So let's see, there's another comment. Wow, what an ultimatum. I didn't realize I have made such a strong choice on that spectrum. Okay. Let's see. Let's go into the relationships with our parents. So we have about 35 more minutes left. So we'll go into this. So this is one of my favorite topics. How your relationships with your parents are reflected in all of your relationships in your reality. And the explanation behind this is, you know, everything you have learned about who you are and how the world works has largely, like, massively been influenced by your parents. So, you know, there's even scientific evidence that, you know, from 0 to about 7 years old, from 5 to 7 years old, you learn, you know, you absorb everything like a sponge. And so your parents obviously are the ones who, or the people that raise you are the ones who are around the most. And so you absorb everything from them. And, you know, there's evidence that after like 7 years old, you just kind of repeat the same pattern of who you know, your beliefs about the world and who you are. It's just like a recurring pattern throughout the rest of your life, unless you take a really, unless you take a deep look at, you know, who you really are and separate from you who your parents are, and be able to actually work that stuff out and like untangle, if you will, the things that you learn from your parents that aren't necessarily serving you. So maybe there's things that you learn from your dad, like suppressed anger or, suppressed emotions, let's say, and you just kind of absorb that energetically from him growing up. Let's say that's not serving you. Suppressed emotions doesn't really serve us. It doesn't. So, the process of giving that back to him, or just freeing yourself from that, there's a lot of things you can do. You can journal about it. There's some techniques that we'll go over in the emotional intelligence part of this program to work through that stuff and kind of untangle the stuff that you learned just from your parents that you don't want, that are not serving you. So, naturally, our relationship with our mom shows up most clearly in our relationships with women. So, say it's our relationship with the feminine. And I saw this to be true in my own life, and I'll talk about that. And then our relationships with our dad show up in our relationships with men, our friends, our guy friends. So I will tell you about my experience with this. I realized in the past, with help from some female mentors that have come into my life, that my relationship with my mom shows up in my relationships with women. So how I relate to and how I connect with my mom shows up in my intimate life with women. And it shows up most clearly when I'm in the depths of intimacy. So the deeper I go with people in connection, the deeper I go within myself, and then usually some stuff comes up about that's related to my relationship with my mom. So what I realized was that, to be fully transparent with you guys, I wasn't, most of my upbringing, I wasn't very emotionally close with my mom. And so how that showed up with women was that I was only willing to go to like a certain point of intimacy, and then after that I would get uncomfortable, or I'd leave, or she would leave because she would lose interest because I could only go so far. And I was not aware of it for many years. And so what happened was I just had a bunch of really short, unfulfilling, short-lived relationships with women. So like just kind of quick dates and stuff like that. And I never had the deep intimacy that I wanted. I always wanted a, really like long-term, like deep relationship, but that didn't happen for most of my life because I was afraid to go deep in intimacy. And so until I actually faced that with my mom, I wasn't able to get that intimacy. So ways that I worked through that was journaling about it, also getting help from mentors, if you will, from coaches who kind of helped me realize that, because I didn't see it on my own. I didn't know why I didn't have, the intimacy that I wanted with women. It just didn't happen. I thought it was, I don't know, maybe I didn't know why. So I got help from other people, say friends or mentors, coaches. I also journaled about it. I wrote about, so why am I not getting the long-term intimacy that I want in my life? And then I wrote about it. I sat down and kind of, thought about it, and, went through the possibilities, and then eventually realized, oh, wow, it's my relationship with my mom. And, that's one of the reasons I came back home to spend some time with my family, was to sort out this stuff. And I'm actually talking openly about this with my parents. And so I actually took my mom on a walk and openly talked with her about this. Like, I'm coming home to, because, you know, one of the reasons I've come home is because I realized my relationship with women are, you know, directly related to my relationship with you. And so I want to, you know, work on being more emotionally close with you and sharing things more openly with you. And that's true. I did want to be closer there. So I actually came back home to work through that. And the same thing goes with your relationship with your dad. You know, more than likely, as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, like some of you might be thinking right now possibly that, oh, you know, that doesn't really make sense. Like, you know, maybe this isn't clicking right now, per se. But because, you know, let's say, you know, if you're living away from your family, you might say like, oh, well, I have great relationships with my friends, when maybe you don't have the best relationship with your dad. And that's possible too. Maybe you have worked through some stuff just on your own, which is great. But if you notice that when you go back home for, say, Christmas, or, you know, whenever you go back home, I can imagine that a lot of you, if not all of you, get triggered by your parents by being home. And I'll tell you this, whatever triggers you when you're around them is something within yourself that you yourself are in judgment of, that you are telling yourself is not okay. Because when you get triggered, you feel it inside your body, right? It's like, oh, like you get angry, or like it's like instant, like emotional response. So that comes from within you. So with taking full responsibility with what's happening with you, you will find, if you dig deeper and deeper into this, that it's your responsibility, and there's things in yourself that you're not okay with, and so you're not fully and unconditionally loving yourself. And, you know, so you might say, like, what's the point of all, like, why are we talking about this? It's because this is going to show up in your life if you don't deal with it now. It's going to show up for the rest of your life consistently. It's going to show up in your romantic life. So let's say you have a girlfriend. The parts of yourself that get triggered by your parents, that's going to eventually show up with her as you go deeper and deeper in intimacy. And, you know, you have two choices. You can either only go so far and be like, okay, I don't want to go any further because I'll get triggered, and maybe, you know, maybe I'll have to face some deep sadness, or maybe you more than likely don't even know what's down there. You may not even know that you're trying to avoid going deeper. Or, you know, so you can only go so far, or you can face this stuff and go deeper down into your intimacy and your love life and your unconditional love for yourself. And, you know, it might be painful at times, it might be really emotional, it might be scary, but I'll tell you from firsthand experience, it's the most fulfilling thing you can possibly do, period. Because ultimately all you're wanting in this life is to be yourself in the fullest way, and to be unconditional love, to love yourself unconditionally. Because if you love yourself unconditionally, then you will love everyone else, and then everyone else will love you. It's all a reflection. And so life just gets more and more and more amazing as you become more and more full of unconditional love. And you'll also be more successful. You'll have more influence in the world. You'll make more money. Hands down. So this is a big topic. I'm going to see if you guys have any questions. Okay. Wow, awesome. Thanks a lot, Jack. Looking forward to get deeper into that. Cool, man. Question from James. How do you manage fear of dating an older women? More specifically, those 30 to 33 years old. I don't have the fear that I'm young. It's more that a lot of them have on their mind that it's time to have kids soon. And I'm not in a place where I'm ready for that. So it's like there's a connection, and then that's really important. Topic lingering overhead. Gotcha. So James, it comes down to what you're wanting. I mean, ultimately, that's the most important thing to you. That's what matters most to you is, what works best for you, what is the best relationship for you, who's the best woman for you. And so, do you want to be with a woman that is trying to have kids soon? It sounds like the answer is no. Because you said you're not in a place where you're ready for that. So the answer is no. So if a woman wants to have kids soon, then she's not a right match for you, right? So that's it. End game. So it really comes down to what how committed are you to what you're wanting, and so there's no way of saying that all women above 30 are trying to have kids. That's not true, because I've met many who are not trying to have kids. And so, let's see, you mentioned you don't have the fear that you're young. It's more that a lot of them have on their mind that it's time to have kids soon. Okay. So it sounds like you're coming from a mindset that all women above 30 want to have kids, and I'm sure you realize that's not entirely true. That's not true. There's certainly many women out there who are not trying to have kids at their age. And so the idea is to find the woman that's right for you. And so I urge you to get really, really, really specific with what you are looking for. Just you. It's not about the women. It's time to focus on you. A lot of times we focus on other people, try to please them, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not, it comes back to unconditional love. If you're not fully loving yourself and what's most important to you, then they can't fully love and accept you. It's always a reflection. So let's focus on you and get you really, really crystal clear with what you are truly wanting, what you would love, what is your ideal relationship that you would absolutely would be amazing for you right now. So I urge you to get really clear with that. Sounds like it's most likely a woman who maybe she's around the age of 30 and she's not in a place of having kids really soon, because that's where you're at. So, this goes back to, how committed are you to yourself? How committed are you to what you're truly wanting? And so if you meet a woman who wants to have kids and you're not down with that, it's over, Okay, you can be friends with them or you can do whatever you want, but don't try to change them. You can't change another person, period. It's not possible. They have control of themselves. You have control of yourself. So let's focus on you. Let's focus on the only thing you have control over, which is you, yourself. And so let's keep you committed to what you're truly wanting. And once you stay more fully committed to what you're wanting, the faster you're going to meet your perfect woman. Because when you're fully committed and aligned with who you are, your perfect woman will be attracted to you like a magnet, because it goes down to physics. Like attracts like. So I hope that answers your question. Ryan says, I'm going to sign off early because I'm feeling sick. Oh, sorry, man. Looking forward to being on this journey with all of you. Awesome, man. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you get better. Kevin says, makes sense to me, Jack. I'm texting my mom now, and I need to rewatch the last couple of minutes. But how do you find out about the unhelpful mentality that you might not realize when you're treating a woman? Let me think what you mean by that. How do you find out about the unhelpful mentality that you might not realize when you're dating, when you're treating women? Okay, so I believe I understand your question. how you find out about the unhelpful mentality. So the things that are not serving you, that you might not be aware of at all when you're treating women. I think what we're going to do, we're going to do a homework assignment on this. Or let's just say action steps for the next week. So, Kevin, I want you to write in your journal, just get out a piece of paper or get a notebook, and I want you to title it, let's see, what ways am I treating women that are not, let's see, what ways am I treating women that are not serving me? Let's see, it's an unhelpful mentality. So, hold on one second. Let's make the title of your journal entry, in what ways am I treating women unconsciously? So in what ways am I treating women that I'm not even aware of, that I'm doing just habitually? And so I want you to write, let's say, 2 full pages worth of what ways I am treating women unconsciously. And so we're going to, in this exercise, we're going to look at ways that you're treating women that you may not even be aware of right now. So we're going to take a look at most likely repetitive patterns that are showing up in your relationships with women. So let me know if you can think of any right now. But, you know, an example might be, oh, I can never openly express my sexual desire for them. Or, you know, a woman usually, when I go on a first date, you know, the women usually don't want to go on the second date. Or, you know, I usually don't go as deep in intimacy. I don't find the connection that I want with women. And so I want you to list as many things as you possibly can come up with of ways that you're unconsciously treating women that are showing up over and over and over and over and over again. So maybe like, why can I never find a girlfriend? Why have I not had a girlfriend? The type of girl that I'm looking for right now. And then you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then as you do that, I want you to write a list of at least 20 ways that you're unconsciously treating women. And then the next thing is I want you to write out, how does this relate to my relationship with my mom? And I want you to sit down for, you know, at least 30 minutes and take a look at the list that you just made of at least 20 things and take a hard look at it and look at how each one of those things, or the majority of them, think about and analyze how those relate to your relationship with your mom. So, you know, there's this quote that, you know, to become like a man, you have to metaphorically fuck your mother and kill your dad. And so the idea of that is like, get past the sexual suppression with your mom, and then being able to stand up to your dad, to your father, and be able to hold your ground in his presence, you know, no matter what happens. Like even if he's angry at you or whatever he throws at you, being able to like face death in front of him, metaphorically speaking. It's not necessarily actually like fighting it out with him, but metaphorically, energetically speaking. So in the context with your mom, he might have some kind of suppressed sexuality type energy there that you may have learned from her or may have learned from your dad. So this could go very, very deep. There could be lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of layers to look at here. But for now, I'm going to have you do that homework assignment. Let me know if you have any questions on that. But yeah, to all the guys here, for the next week, I want you to do the steps that I just mentioned, to write out at least 20 things that you are unconsciously doing in your relationships that you're seeing a repetitive pattern, and you know, write about how that relates for each one of them. Write about if it, you know, how that relates to your relationship with your mom, and kind of then we can kind of get more clear with what's really going on, what you learned from your mom, and maybe what you could work on with your relationship with your mom, so that you could improve on the relationship with your women. And the idea is, your relationship with your mom is such a core part of who you are, because she fucking raised you. You fucking came out of her body, and ever since then, you know, she held you, she raised you, and you absorbed everything from her, especially for the first 7 years of your life. And so it's a very, very, very close to your heart, your relationship with her and your dad. So that's why we want to do this drill for the next week. So great question, Kevin. Let me know if you have any more questions on that. We're almost about done here, guys. Let me see what more we have to color. So I just want to mention, yeah, at the end here. So yeah, this webinar is free to the public. This is the first webinar. And we have 5 more in the Highly Confident Man Initiation Program. And so in the rest of the program, if you're watching this right now and you're not signed up for the program, we will cover how to deal much more in great detail, how to deal with fear and resistance, and how to move in your life's direction, in your most alive, fulfilled direction, without being like held back and suppressed and afraid, because that never feels good. Because ultimately we want to live freely as men. We want to be fully alive, fully free. And ultimately the only way to do that is to face the stuff inside of us, the fears that are coming up, and the anxiety and stuff that's like that. And once we fully work through that, then we can truly get what we're wanting, is live fully and freely and abundant. And we'll cover how to filter out, you know, the external noise in our lives, you know, maybe from our parents or from society that's telling us how to live, but really what we want to do is just be ourselves, and we want to live to our own soul's calling. We'll cover how to be our most powerful selves, and you know, how to really achieve any goal or dream that we have. We're going to go deep into that, to the most effective ways to truly bring your dreams into reality. Even for example, like your ideal woman, how to fully attract your ideal woman. And that really goes back to being super, super, super clear with what you're looking for, and then when you're you know, fully clear with that, you will be able to just point her out immediately, because you're so clear already with what you're looking for. It's like a captain of the ship trying to get to a final destination. If he knows the destination, he knows that to get there, then he's going to get there. Whereas if he's just floating around at sea, he's going to fucking die. You know, a hurricane's going to come and knock the ship over, and everyone's going to die, because you know, they don't know how to get to their final destination. They don't even know where they're going. And we're going to have a lot of amazing guest interviews, one with Sarah Ness. Sarah Ness has built one of the most thriving, authentic relating communities in the country in Austin, Texas. And authentic relating is a practice to communicate effectively and connect deeply with others. So this affects your intimate life, your friendships, your business, you know, your relationships with your coworkers. You know, it affects your success. It affects everything. So this is a highly beneficial practice to have more intimacy and, you know, better sex and, you know, have awesome communication skills. We'll also have Alexi Panos, who's an amazing, amazing, beautiful woman. She's a model, she's a speaker, she's an actress, she's an author, and she's a Renaissance woman. And I'm going to do an interview with her, and that's going to be amazing. If you guys, I mean, we'll have you guys, you know, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask these amazing women, that will definitely be arranged. So if you're joining this webinar and you're not signed up for the program, you can get access to this entire program for $250. And this is a killer deal. I mean, this program is easily worth like $500, if not more. There's all kinds of programs out there that, you know, 6-week programs that go for like $1,000 plus $1,500. And so, you know, this is a killer deal. I'm giving this great deal because this is honestly my first time doing this a program like this, and the next program will be a lot more. I'll let you guys know about the next program after the end of this program. First things first. But in this program, we also have a private Facebook support group with other high-performing men. There's a lot of amazing guys in this program, and so you guys can hash it out. You can talk about what's going on, whatever you're going through, what your frustrations are, and we'll get you all the answers that you need. And there's going to be a lot of awesome bonus content that is going to help you guys along your journey. And so by the end of this program, it is my personal guarantee that you will have the tools to have deep and amazing relationships for the rest of your life, more self-confidence than you've ever had, and the tools to live a truly upgraded life, which is really what you're really wanting. It's really, you want to be the fullest version of yourself. You want to be free. You want to be free from all the blocks and the fears and the frustrations that are showing up in your life right now. So if you're interested in signing up for this program, write in the comments, I'm interested, and I will connect with you, and we will set that up, and we'll get you in this program. I want you here if you feel drawn to this program. If you guys have any more questions, just type them into the chat box. Let's see. Kevin wrote, yes, you got my question exactly right, man. Haha, sorry for the confusing language. Got it. So I will start taking a hard look at what the repetitive patterns that usually happens. Love this episode. You helped me out so much already. Thanks, bro. Great, man. I'm really glad I'm able to help you out, and this will only continue. It'll only get better. This is only the beginning, man. So looks like that is the last question as of now. And so so once again, the action steps for this week, I'll write in the private Facebook group, but it's to get crystal clear with a list of at least 20 things that 20 ways that you are acting unconsciously in your relationships. And so repetitive patterns that are showing up in your relationships with women. Or if you want to focus on men, you can do that too. Your guy friends, that could show up too, maybe, in terms of as related to your relationship with your father. But in terms of the relationship with women, after you write that list of 20 things, write down how each one of those are related to your relationship with your mom. And then after that, we can take the next steps of what to do about that and how to actually sort out these issues, these kind of frustrations that are showing up, because it is your decision. It's up to you to face these finally. This will change. I mean, this will change everything for you for the rest of your life. The more you kind of get deep into this work, and you will finally, you know, these are the tools to help you get what you're really wanting, to have that deep intimacy that you want, that amazing girlfriend. This is the work that you got to do first. If you don't face these things now, you're not going to get what you're wanting. And so this comes back to full responsibility, taking full responsibility for yourself and your own fears and your own judgments. And once you work that stuff out internally, then you work it out with the entire world, because the way you act out in the world, you are the center point of your reality, and the way you act out in the world is a reflection of you. People will reflect back you, your own fears, your own insecurities, or the amazing things about you, that, you know, how incredible you are. So that is the end of the show today, guys. I will connect with you back on the private Facebook group. If you're watching this and you are not signed up for the 6-week program, the rest of the program is going to be private. If you want to sign up, it's $250. That's a killer deal. This is worth, you know, $500 plus easily. Just contact me on Facebook either, or you can comment in the Google Hangout section. Just let me know that you're interested in signing up, and I will contact you, and we'll make that happen. We'll get you into this program. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm signing off now, and I will connect with you back on the Facebook group. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. All right, guys. I'll talk to you again next time.